Hi class, this is JilMac. Ooh, crash. And I am going to be going over creating a second database in classweb.ccv.edu. Students know that if they have questions, they can visit my website, they can give me a call. And so let's look at Centora. Let's pull it up here. So here's Centora when we log in. In order to create another database, first you have to know what the database name is. So when you go into database, mine happens to show me 3 different databases, but you will just have one. Students only have one database, and that's really all you need. So this is the name of my database, JilMac 08260 WordPress. So I'm going to go back home to our Centora, and if you wanted to know your login, which you will need to, you can go into MySQL users and you can find your password there. If you want to know what the subdirectory is of where, when WordPress puts this into your directory, how do you know what the name of it is? Because it's going to ask you what name do you want to put this second WordPress into. So it's always nice to know where it goes. So if you go into phpMyAdmin, it's going to ask you to log in again. I've already done it, so I don't have to log in. But this is the login for the database. So your database name and your database password, which you find in database users, is what you need to log into your phpMyAdmin. Now when I click on databases, it shows me I have these 3 databases. I want to look at this one database, and in this one database I'm going to reverse, well, I can't really do that here, can I? But I can here. I'm going to reverse it, so I'm going to look at tables, and I'm going to look at all the WordPress tables first. It was called WP, but it names them all WP1 because this installation gives us the ability to install more than one WordPress site, but you're using the same WordPress database. It's just that each of the tables is an iteration. So the first WordPress you install is going to default to WP1. The next one we're going to have to put in is WP2. But you can see all the tables associated with WordPress are users, user metadata, the terms, the term meta, the post meta, and meta is the metadata about the post. When did you post it? Which user posted it? That kind of stuff. Options, links, comments, and comment metadata. These other tables are because you can add additional tables to your database without having to do anything with WordPress. And so if I'm doing things with MySQL, if I'm doing a MySQL class or learning about that, I can add tables. If I'm doing a PHP class, I can add tables. And what I do is I give them a prefix so that they're all together. But for the WordPress tables, the first one is WP1, so we're going to install another one. We're going to go back to our Centora, and we're going to go to Home, now that we've gotten all of our information, and we're going to go back to Centastico. Centastico is an automatic installer. It does not create the database, but you pick which one to use. So here I'm going to click on the Install button, because I want to install a WordPress site. And in this particular one, CCV has allowed us to install Joomla or WordPress. But we're going to be installing WordPress, and we're going to come down. It's going to go into my domain, which is JAM08260 classweb.ccv.edu. We're not going to install it to the root. We're going to install it to a subfolder. And the subfolder is going to be WP2, because this is going to be my second WordPress. I'm going to click Install. It's unpacking the WordPress. And we have to wait a few minutes. And so it comes up to the Syntastico automated WordPress installation, and I want to install it now. It's telling me it's going to unzip the WordPress files to my root and then WP2. This is Linux, as I've told you, so I'm going to install it now. And I want it to be in English, but I can have any of these other languages. So I'm going to do an English install. And if I scroll down, depending on your screen size, sometimes you'll have to scroll down to hit that continue button. So it's going to tell you it needs the database name. It needs the database username and password and the database host. And the table prefix if you want to run more than one WordPress database, which we do. So let's go. So it asks us for the database name. My database name happens to be JAM08260 _ WordPress. That's the database name. Then the SQL username happens to be JilMac, because that's what I gave it when I created it. The password happens to be this long kind of thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this while I put this in. It's going to be localhost, and the prefix is going to be WordPress 2. So I want WordPress 2 to be in front of all those different tables. So I'm just going to pause this for a minute while I put in my super secret password, and then I'm going to press submit. I press the submit button, and now I'm going to run the install. Welcome to the famous 5-minute WordPress install process. Just fill in the information. Please provide the following information. The site title. So I'm just going to call this as WP2, but you might want to call it class project, or maybe the name of the project that you're doing it for, and the username. Now they're giving me my default name, so I guess this will be my username. And as I scroll down, I'm going to put in my password. Now this is for the administration. And I'm going to put in the same password as I use for my site. Oops, let me just double check that. Okay, and then my email address so that alerts can come to me. And I want to allow this search engine. So this is the administration for WP2. So when I log in to administer this WordPress site, this is what it's going to be. So you may want to change it, but write it down whatever you do. Okay, I've got mine written down, and I'm going to install WordPress. Oh, it didn't like my email address, so it must be ccv.vsc.edu. And I'll put my password in again. Try to type it in right. And now I'll install it. Oh, you gotta love this, guys. I haven't put an @ Let's try it one more time. Password. It has to be a legit, so it's nice that it's verifying that. Okay, WordPress is being installed. You are expecting more steps. Sorry to disappoint. So if I click this login, it's going to go and log into it. But if I go back to Centura now, and I look at, I'm just going to go to my home, and I'm going to go down to my Elf Manager, and I'm going to look at WP. Notice I have a WP and I have a WP2. So it has added all of these files into my WP2 directory. And that's because you can have multiple WordPress installations against one WordPress database. And a lot of WordPress webmasters do that. If they have a lot of little clients, they will put them, they will make multiple instances, but just have one database to update the security and to update the SEO and all of the different add-ons and stuff that they put in. So here it is in WP2, and if you look at it, it's today at 11:45. And that's how we do it. And if I go back to the WordPress install, if I go to log in, I'm going to log in. I think it puts in the password for me. And notice how it's putting in WP2 here. If I log in, it's logging me into the administration panel for this WP2. You guys have a good time, and give me a call if you have any questions. JilMac, 802-254-8628.